Now moving on to our third story. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. If you don't know who Phoenix Wright is, I don't know why I'm so... why am I so confrontational with this story? Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, the Trilogy. So the first 3 games are coming out. They have been announced for the Nintendo Switch, PS4, Steam, and Xbox One. They will be coming out early 2019. Funnily enough, I talked about this with Tristan Walters, sort of. I talked about Capcom announcing that they might have some fun stuff coming up for the Switch. And he and I were like, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney? This was a while ago, though. I think it might have even been last season. It was so long ago. But still, this actually really excites me. I'll tell you why. I know some people were not excited, and I totally get why they weren't, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but let's talk about some of the facts first. So, Capcom announces during a live stream at the Tokyo Game Show 2018 event, and yes, they're releasing again the first 3 games, which I love that they have. The article will be in the description box down below as always, but I love how they have the name in Japanese. It's like, Yakuten Saiban 1, 2, 3, Naruhodo Selection. So yeah, that is what it is. And they also showed an English trailer as well. I'm going to safely assume they're keeping the exact same script, no changes. So any of you guys that don't like the localization, I'm assuming that's going to still be in there. What's interesting, though, about this to me, because some of you guys, like I mentioned, you know, like some people are really not interested in this. They're like, look, we've gotten the same 3 games over and over over. They've talked about it's on mobile. You can get them on your, I believe on the 3DS as well, digitally. It's just getting exhausting for some of you guys. And I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. But the reason why this excites me is because it's coming out on Steam. So, yes, it hasn't been necessarily hard to mod DS games up until this point, but I think the mod community might even increase further. And it's going to be so much fun being able to mod these games on Steam and do some crazy things with them. Because, you know, yes, I'm not going to say that there haven't been mod packs for the DS for a while, but I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I haven't noticed, but I feel like when it comes to at least the Pokemon modding community, the Game Boy Advance has always had more tools than the DS, even to this day. And maybe I'm wrong, but I have not seen, and there could be, but I've not seen intense hacks of DS games like I have with Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color games in the Pokemon modding community, of course. Although there were some Phoenix Wright modding editor things online, although most of those dealt with playing the games on the PC already, not so much you can port them to a Game Boy Advance cartridge or a DS cartridge. But still, I do think that it being put on Steam does mean that there's so many options for what you can do with this game, and it's going to be really, really cool. I cannot wait to try, you know, Frieza in court, like, you destroyed all of the Saiyans! And Frieza's going to be like, you mean those monkeys that I destroyed? Like, just immediately, you're going to have Edgeworth being like, oh god, no, like, it's going to be like, oh god. So that's going to be hilarious. I will love to see some really weird stuff that'll come out online, but some of you guys are like, I don't care. You're probably still just like, I don't care. I don't want this to... Maybe you're saying, I don't want this to be on the PS4 or the Xbox One. Why is it not exclusive anymore? Frankly, I'm happy that you could play this game on every other... Like, if you don't want to play it on the PS4 and Xbox One, that's fine. Play it on your Switch. Play it, you know, on Steam. But why can't everybody else get these games? Now, what's interesting, what I find interesting, though, is how am I going to be able to play these games without a microphone or without a touchscreen? Because even on mobile, while I don't know how they've adapted it to that, you still have a touchscreen and a mic in your phone like you do on your DS. So how am I going to play some of the stuff that's in the first game and even implemented in some later games on something that isn't the Switch in handheld mode? That'll be very interesting, and that's something I really want to see, how they're going to implement some of those things in the PS4 and the Xbox One versions of these games. Also, yes, I understand, you know, some of you guys are like, but I want more Ace Attorney. But I will admit, yes, I think they should release some of the Ace Attorney games that have never been released here. They should put those out on 3DS sooner rather than later. But at the same time, I do think that putting these out, it's easier than making a new game? Yes, totally. Is it easier than translating and localizing, you know, an older game? Yeah, of course it is. Like, no one's denying that. It definitely is easier. But I think it's just, for me, look, I have the first Ace Attorney game on my DS. And I know people who have the other Ace Attorney games on their DS. So I can probably borrow those from them and play them if I want to. But there's people who literally have never been able to experience an Ace Attorney game. I haven't checked online right now, but I have a feeling that they are so popular. Yeah, there were a lot of them printed, but they're so popular that they might have gone up in price. So to have all three collected, I really don't see a problem with it. I know that all of us want a new game in the Ace Attorney franchise, especially because the anime is doing well. I think there is an accompanying manga that's also doing well. So people want to have more, more games in the Ace Attorney trilogy. But if you don't want this game, then you don't have to buy the game. And that's okay, right? You don't have to buy the game. Will I be buying the game? I don't know. It does depend on the price, I think. If this is meant to be a $60 game, no bueno. $40? Yes, I think I would, because it has two other games that I'm pretty sure I've played them in passing, but I've never beaten. And even though I said I have some friends that have those games, they might have sold them by this point, so they might not have them anymore. So I do have the first one. That one works just fine, and I love that one. But if I can get these two games, extra games for $40 on the PS4, and they'll play vastly different than they would have on my DS, as long as they play well, I don't think it's a bad idea. Now, for some of you guys that still have the games on the DS, I get where you're coming from. I do. But, and I understand if you say, but what if this game doesn't sell well because, you're not going to buy it, someone else might not buy it if they already have the game. And if they don't buy it, then Capcom thinks, well, I guess the series isn't viable. That I get. But I do think enough people bought them on the 3DS to show Capcom that people want this game. Maybe they just wouldn't want the same three games again. I don't know. I mean, for me, as someone who only has the first one, it seems like it would be a good deal. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you disagree, that's okay. Let's keep it civil. But I understand where you're coming from regardless. I just think that this is a great way for people who've never experienced Ace Attorney before. And remember, every single year there's more and more people who may have never, touched a video game before, right? Every year there's new kids that are just, granted, some might say, why would some of these kids sit there and be like, I want to play the law game? But you know what? I was, let me see, I think I was like 10 at the time, or maybe 12 at the time, when the first Ace Attorney game came out, and I was like, sure, let's do the law thing. So, there are some kids who maybe, by the way, the re-release on 3DS was December 2014, in North America and in Europe. But even then, they might not have had a 3DS. Like, it's just a thing where I think this is just for people who've never bought it before. I don't think they're going to use this to gauge whether or not it's popular in the US. I hope that they wouldn't, because that would not be a good way to gauge fan interest. Because I think this is just for people who've never bought it before. And again, tell me what you think down below, but I really don't think you have to buy it if you don't like it. And I think that funds for this could go to a potential new one. But again, it shouldn't be used to say whether or not it's popular enough. Either way, guys, tell me what you think.